Rachel Reeves ruling out a tax rises means the money will have to magically appear from somewhere, said Bob Lyddon. Shadow Chancellor Rachel Reeves is planning to APU rules and dance to Brussels tune if Sir Keir Starmer's Labour Party defeats Rishi Sunak's Tories in July 4th's general election, an influential Brexiteer has warned. Bob Lyddon, founder of Lyddon ConsuIting Services Limited, outlined his concerns in a paper published at the weekend, suggesting Labour would waste little time in cosying up to the European Union if Sir Keir replaces Mr Sunak as Prime Minister. And, speaking after a keynote speech delivered by Ms Reeves on Tuesday, he suggested all his concerns had been borne out by her so-called 5 mission, namely cutting NHS waiting times, with 40,000 new appointments every single week. Launching a new border security command to smash criminal gangs and strengthen borders, setting up Great British Energy, publicly owned clean power company, cracking down on antisocial behaviour, and recruiting 6,500 new teachers. Mr Lyddon, whose paper, Decoding Rachel Reeves, was published on Saturday, told Express, even if Labour promises not to rejoin the EU, it will ape it and, when opportune, whistle up a case to re-enter the customs union and single market, after adopting dynamic alignment, a phrase that might better be rendered as dancing to Brussels tune, or when Brussels says jump, Labour says how high. He continued, the paper's contents have been confirmed by Labour's publications and utterances since the election was announced. Referring to Ms Reeves' 5 missions, Mr Lyddon said, the mission Get the NHS Back on Its Feet will apparently require no extra funding, whether by borrowing, or by tax rises beyond what Labour have already announced. The money will magically appear from somewhere. Of course, in confirming that there will be no further tax rises, Reeves confirms there will be no tax cuts. The second pledge, to get Britain building again, in other words economic growth, would apparently be achieved through stability, discipline and robust economic institutions, like the Office for Budget Responsibility, except it won't, Mr Lyddon continued. He explained, tax cuts, deregulation, entrepreneurialism, risk-taking, less government interference, and fewer quangos are the more normal facilitators of economic growth, but not in Labour's world of securonomics, where bureaucrats and politicians will make all the important decisions. There will be little room for free markets. Ms Reeves pledged to exercise iron discipline, in a phrase which recalled the tenure of Gordon Brown, will apply only to day-to-day costs, Mr Lyddon claimed. He continued, Keir Starmer has confirmed that new capital projects will bypass these constraints and be funded with private finance, a rerun of New Labour's disastrous usage of private finance initiative, under which about £50 billion of money was ploughed into schools, hospitals and universities. Now, 14 years after New Labour left power, £278 billion still has to be paid by the hapless British public until we are finally off the hook in 2053. PFI has been like a dodgy car loan. Starmer's Labour intends to pick up exactly where New Labour left off and rack up colossal new debts for current and future generations, particularly to fund the net zero transition.